Welcome to Rom Wills, Money Matters. Mass layoffs have a domino effect. Now, let me be clear, because right now in the news is all these federal government layoffs. Now, I'm not going to get into the political aspect of it, but something that's also in the news, not to the same extent, are all these private companies laying off people. In fact, that's been like a normal thing. Right, so you got mass layoffs in the federal government, you got mass layoffs in private industry and everything. And I ain't gonna get into why they doing it or for it or against it. I work for myself, so I don't work with normal private industry work. I don't have a boss, and I definitely don't work in the government, not anymore. I worked back in the day. But here's the thing with any layoff. When you get mass layoffs like that, they always have a domino effect. We ain't talking about one or two people. They have a domino effect. Now, I've said several times I used to work for the government back in the 90s, right? Now, one thing that it wouldn't always be a government building. Like one place I was working had like a little shopping mall. For those who might remember, and I think they don't have stores like they used to, but it's this place called the Shops in downtown DC. And I used to work they had a lot of government people working in there, but they also had those people supporting the shops. Now, here's the thing with mass layoffs. They have a domino effect. They don't just affect the people being laid off. First of all, if it's a private office or a landlord or something, all of a sudden, if the offices are empty, they not getting money. Okay, so they're losing money. But then wherever the layoffs are, it could be a government layoff somewhere, like most of the people in the building not working there anymore, or a private company where they don't have people coming, a great number of people coming to the office. Now, some people might think, oh yeah, that's good. That's good. It's like, no. Because remember the one thing, every single one of those people they're consumers. And they spend their money somewhere. Now, we're not going to get into like their rents, their mortgages or something. Now, that could be a problem. That's having an effect on somebody. But then grocery stores are having an effect, or restaurants. Those are the main effect. Like I was mentioning about working for the government years ago, and then working in this place, they had some shopping stores they called the Shops. Now, they had all these restaurants and like clothing stores and everything. The main customers were government workers. Now, like I said, I've been there a few years ago. They didn't have the same setup, and that's cool. But when you have restaurants, let's just use restaurants for an example, that's serving like a business, and it could be a government business or government office, or it could be serving maybe a private office that's working there. All of a sudden they don't have people anymore. They're not coming in the restaurant as much, and you say, oh, what's the big deal there? Hold up. All of a sudden the restaurant, they're not making money. All of a sudden they might have to lay off some people. They might have to cut back some hours, which is affecting the people there. And then, of course, that's going to affect rents and mortgages and whatever they spend their money on. But see, it don't stop there. If we just follow the dominoes for business, all right, you got all these people, you got these restaurants, they not getting as many people. They might have to lay off some people. Then they don't have to order as much food. They don't have to order as much, plastic. Plastic silverware and all of that, plastic utensils rather, or like napkins or paper plates or carton containers or something. That affects whoever is creating them. Now somebody's usually doing that. They might have a bunch of places, but then if they get enough, that could really mess them up. In fact, I remember. I've said several times about this guy who had the buffalo wing guy. One of the places he was like had a restaurant, he was in charge of, he was the owner of, was a place that was connected with a government building. Basically, they were his only customers. Now, imagine if anybody who's connected that way. In fact, I remember I used to do some vending at this government building. I used to do some vending. They used to set it up. I used to go there all the time to set up some stuff, right? What if they were laid off? All of a sudden, I'm not making money there. That's affecting the vendor. You know, if somebody else is affected, you always got to look at the picture. You start with, very simply, where are they spending their money? 70% of the United States GDP is based on consumer spending. 70%, right? If they're not spending their money, that's affecting somebody else who might have to lay off people, you know? It has a domino effect. See, when I'm looking at it, like even myself, for what I'm doing, I'm paying attention to it. People say, well, you're online and everything. I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention because what if different businesses, I got ads and everything on here. What if they can't afford the ads because they're not making money? Now, I got other ways open, of course. But then what if, the people who, may be subbing some like my Patreons or buying other products from me, they don't have the same money. I was like, oh, wait a minute. So I'm always paying attention to that. See, remember, don't just, you get some people, especially, from on a political side, they like, yeah, good. Yeah, they cheering on like these layoffs. I'm like, hey, it might affect you. Like that example I use of the restaurant. Now, of course, that could affect so much. It's not even just a restaurant, but what about the logistics to deliver stuff, deliver food or something? It could affect somebody in states over. It could affect somebody who doesn't even work for the government, And then private industry, it's the same effect. Like when you had, let me use an example, go even further. You had some of these manufacturing jobs. You had cities that had like steel plants and everything, all of a sudden got moved overseas. All of a sudden these cities are bad places now because that affected people. That was the main employer in that small town or something. That affected everything else. See, that's one thing. And let me hit something else. Let me throw this out about the government workers. Some people say, oh, just get another job, but hold up. Depending on the worker, they were making good money. So say they making 100,000. And yes, you do have other jobs out there. See, one thing when they talk about jobs, they'll count like a 12-hour job making minimum wage. They'll say that's a job. That's a whole other conversation, right? All of a sudden, somebody making 6 figures, the only job they can get is some minimum wage job. Obviously, they're not spending as much money. And out of my 1,000 jobs, I've been in that position before, left one job, making a lot of money, went to another job, but wasn't making as much money. I've been there before, so that's still affecting it. It's still stuff I couldn't buy. I want y'all to think about that. These layoffs have a domino effect. Pay attention to it. Even if it's not your job, pay attention how it might affect your job. All right? Or even business. Say you had a business, but it's next to a place that had government workers or a private company that had a lot of workers. All of a sudden, you're not getting as much foot traffic or something like that. So always pay attention. They always have a domino effect, I want y'all to think about that. I usually end it by saying, let's go make that money, but I'm gonna end it with something I usually say on my Deep Thought channel. Think on this, all right? I get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.